Okay, thanks a lot, Pat. I'm so pleased to see everyone from so many different parts of the country. I, today is the first webinar in this series. And so today we're going to establish a foundation for what inclusive education really is. Because I'm sure many of you know that sometimes it depends on where you go, what inclusion looks like. So I'll define inclusive education from my perspective and try to distinguish it from mainstreaming and integration, which are two other terms that have been used over the years. And the heart of the presentation is to present 10 reasons or 10 rationales about why inclusive education benefits all students. And woven within those 10 reasons will be some counter arguments and some evidence that respond to reasons that are sometimes given for why people believe inclusive education is not appropriate for a certain student or a certain group of students. A little bit of engagement. As I said, inclusion means different things to different people. So would you just take a moment and type into the chat window the first, I don't know, 2 or 3 words that come to mind when you hear the term inclusive education? All means all, great. And there are no wrong answers here, by the way. Least restrictive environment. I'll have something to say about that in a little bit. Everyone learns together, opportunities for all students, some nice words there, belonging, access, accessibility. Everyone is welcome. Love that word, welcome. Yeah, it sounds like, oh, justice. Very good. It sounds like we're all sort of on the same page about what our own definitions are for inclusive education. So let me read the one that I tend to use, and it's one that a number of people who belong to TASH, which is a national organization promoting equity and inclusion for people with significant disabilities. So you can also find this definition on the TASH, and that's TASH website. So inclusive education is characterized by transformed school communities based on social justice principles in which all students are presumed competent, are welcomed as valued members of all general education classes and extracurricular activities in their local schools, in which they fully participate and learn alongside their same-age peers in general education instruction based on the general education curriculum, and where students with disabilities experience reciprocal social relationships. So inclusive education is distinguished from mainstreaming and integration in these ways. Mainstreaming is the term that arose, 25, 30 years ago, when students with more significant disabilities were members of self-contained, substantially separate classrooms, and they joined a general education class for selected portions of the day. I still see a lot of mainstreaming when I go out and visit schools. I also see a fair bit of what's termed integration, where students with disabilities are integrated into general education classrooms for the majority of the day, but those classrooms are not really designed from the ground up for the wide range of student diversity. So the student with more significant disabilities needs lots of adaptations, accommodations, and modifications in order to participate in and learn that general curriculum, as opposed to the curriculum and the instruction being universally designed. And in a school where mainstreaming and integration are practiced, there are typically still places in the school that are just for students with disabilities. And they might be called resource rooms or language learning classes. Again, the terminology really differs from place to place. In my experience, if I hear folks talking about part-time inclusion, reverse inclusion, social inclusion. This is our fourth grade inclusion classroom. Here's our inclusion student. Or even if they use the term full inclusion, but what they really mean is that students are still spending, a significant chunk of their time outside the regular class. In my mind, that's not inclusive education. And certainly inclusion is not exemplified by the situation where a student simply occupies a chair in a regular classroom without the support given to that student or to that student's teacher to help everyone be successful. And if a classroom is comprised of a disproportionate number of students with disabilities compared to the number of students without disabilities, then it's not really an inclusive classroom.